Hi, my name's Thomas Hoggett.
Hi, I'm Ella Whitman, and in this movie, the main character, John Wick, he has everything that he loves taken from him, and it just follows how he's going through that grieving process and like how he's getting his revenge on just the people who had taken what he loves so much from him.
Let's talk about its themes. So the main theme is it's action, of course. Action, of course, it's action. But I think the way that they portray John Wick as a character and the way Keanu Reeves portrays him is actually really interesting. Unlike most characters in these sorts of action movies, he's not a stand-up guy. He's an assassin who killed thousands. And there's no way we would like him unless the movie somehow made us like him. And there's a bunch of ways they do this. For the most part, they just use a situation that's just so tragic that of course anybody can agree to it, that you're able to look past. And one of the easiest ways to do that is through the death of an animal or a death of a loved one, which people can relate to. But they still remind you that he's not a good guy. Like, even when the bad guy, the bad Russian guy, is talking about him, he's talking about him like a villain. And like how most hero characters introduce the villain. And it's actually really interesting to see that. And John's character stays consistent as a cold-blooded killer. He has no remorse for killing, but he wants to keep those give him that element of humanity. They still allow like little jokes throughout the film so that you don't just hate him right away. So it's just amazing how they just add just enough comedy to make you like this really bad guy.
Well, yes, there is value to this film and like good parts of this film that can be taken away. There's also some dangers of the film, and one of those dangers being the fact that the violence in it is just like so inhumane, and just it's a bunch of killing and just like overbeatings, and it's a lot. And if someone who were in a grieving, mourning, just really emotionally like impressionable state were to see this movie, I feel as if it just wouldn't end up being good. They would end up most likely thinking, oh, something like this is okay, or like something to this degree similar to this is okay, or even like that, like killing and hurting people like that is okay because they're in that grieving state and they're in that mournful state and they've had something similar happen where like someone's killed someone they loved, or just like something they love taken away by someone else. They could go and just act out on this like whoever that is, or like whatever that is, and just end up doing something bad because of the impression they could be getting from this movie. So that it's not a big danger, but it's a danger. So yeah. And then also so some critiques of the film that I had. I personally really liked the camera angles of the film, especially for the fight scenes and like scenes where it was getting like a little more action. I personally really like how when there wasn't a lot of damage being done, or like the shot was more far away and you were still kind of like on the outside of that fight, but then as soon as John Wick would go in for a more painful or like more damage dealing hit, or even like the kill hit, you would get more of an up close camera angle and like a shot, and it would just, you'd be like right there in it, and then it would go immediately, like after a couple of moments there, it would go immediately back out to like what I'm calling like the outside camera angle. So I really thought that was done pretty well with the fight scenes, like especially in the nightclub and I believe in his house in the beginning too. I thought that was all very well done in that manner. And also the lighting of the movie, how in the beginning where like it was all bright and light and like there were a bunch of warm lights and it was all cheery while he was still happy, and then things go wrong, everything he loves taken, boom, the lights are dark, the setting is dark, everything's dark. I feel like they did a really good job of doing that, and while it may have been too dark at some times, it's still like they were going for that dark coloring to represent how like the mood, like the mood that he was feeling in these like times for himself. So yeah.
So honestly, my favorite film technique is probably the way the action directors just worked with the actors. Keanu Reeves is really receptive to learning actual action, so he didn't need a stuntman, and that really shows in this film, where you can get close-ups on John Wick while doing action. It really just changes the perspective of it. It just completely adds a whole new element that just separates it from all these other movies, where when they do action, they have to put a biker helmet on or something. It breaks the immersion a little bit, and I feel like it's just well done to begin with. It's not just lazily trained. Keanu Reeves actually does good stunts, and it actually feels realistic. The fights feel realistic. It's just an amazing work between the actors and the action director. So this is probably one of my favorite action movies. It's just great in terms of getting in there. It doesn't cut away, not as much shaky cam, I guess. And overall, I'm gonna give it a thumbs up. You should definitely go see this movie if you love action movies. And that's it for me.
Yeah, and so overall with this film, even though the dog dies in the beginning, and I don't usually watch movies where dogs die, like, at all. I don't watch dog movies where they die. I'll still give it a thumbs up. I think it deserves it for, like, all the other elements of it that, like, contributed to making it such a good movie. So I'll give it a thumbs up. And thanks for watching. Bye!